Don't worry then, because I've almost got it. I'm ready when you are, but carry on.
Hello and welcome to the second edition of the Unconventional podcast. Today we have two guests on, both music fans, both in the industry. So, Mark, why don't you take away and explain what you do?
Jaz? Okay, so I have been an artist I first started DJing when I was about 19 years old, and I started getting into producing when I was about 25. I was not very good. I was very bad. But I got better. And when I moved to Cheltenham and I was studying music at university, I got way better. And based on the equipment I had, I was able to get a few tunes out. So the first tune I ever released, I actually produced in Bodmin. And I had a futon, so I didn't have a desk. I just did it all at the end of the bed. I had very bad posture. And it's the first tune I ever sent anywhere. It's the one that Amara was dancing to yesterday. And I sent it off and snapped it up. And I stuck with that for years, working in breakbeat and stuff. When I first started producing anyway, I won't talk about DJing because that's a bit convoluted, but when I first started producing, I was just doing it for myself and never really took it seriously. And then when I sent that tune off, they were like, yeah. So I did a few more until I went travelling, and I had a break for literally 3, 4, almost 5 years. And then after working with Finger Licking in London, Punks. So Finger Licking is an agency. It used to be a record label called Finger Licking Records. Now it's called Finger Licking Management. And I worked for a guy called Abel Reynolds. He's really well known in the industry. He's like a powerhouse in the breaks industry. He manages all the biggest breaks artists, and they play all over the world. So people like Crafty Cuts, Freestylers, Plump DJs, Ace Skills, Shaka Loves You, Urban Dub, who's drum and bass, Shaka Loves You, Disco. All the rest are super famous breaks artists. And I did that for about 2.5 years, and then I went to work for Punks, who is a record label owned by Stanton Warriors. And then most recently, just to fast forward, I guess, about 6 months ago, maybe a bit longer, I started producing again, but I was not really finding a groove. And then I got really into my disco in the last year, and something just clicked, and I started a new project called Yo Momma So Phat, which is basically, and the tagline is disco, funk, and house reimagined. So I started just finding tunes that I wanted to redo, and I've got 2 releases out in the last month or so, and I've got another 3 coming out.
They're all on Spotify, yeah?
Get it on Spotify.
Your mama's so fat.
YOMOMMA, not the fighting. So phat, PHAT. So
You've done some big DJ stuff though.
Yeah, I've played some big places in my time as a DJ.
You played at Boomtown.
I played at Boomtown. I played at Brixton Academy, Brixton Jam, Brixton Electric. I played at Ibiza Rocks. I played at a few other places in Ibiza. Yeah, I've done alright there, but the problem with my DJing is I've never really taken it as seriously as production, and I've never really taken that as seriously as I should. But I enjoy it. It's never really been about the money or the fame. I just do it because I like it, and recently something seems to have clicked, and yeah, it's going alright, but it could always be better.
Jazz.
You can edit this as well, so you can edit this out.
I'm not going to.
Yeah, you should. Please.
Well, yeah,
don't make us look like a couple of beeps.
Well, we're just starting out, really.
So you're a member of a band called
Yeah,
Moth.
well, I live up in Brighton like most of the time out of the year. 'Cause I'm up there studying and stuff for like music. But then, yeah, I met the band through uni in our first year, and then it kind of went from there. And like it's just starting out. It's only the first couple of years that we've been together. I mean, I feel like in the first couple of years we've done quite a bit, and we've kind of made a mark for ourselves, especially up in Brighton. I mean, it's kind of hard for us to like break out of Brighton in the minute, just because that's where we're based, like, and like that's where we go to uni and work and all that stuff. But then. Well, okay, well that's definitely yeah. And then I'll go back to the position I was in. You take. What was I before? I completely threw me off.
Brighton.
Yeah.
Brighton is no. Cut. Yeah, you were saying. You're doing stuff in Brighton with it.
Yeah, so yeah, we've been doing that for a couple of years, and then I've been gigging around Brighton a lot. It's kind of just because we're all there. It's so easy to get a gig in Brighton, but it doesn't pay as well. It's like, say for instance you were down here and you'd get probably paid between like $250
for a gig,
which it isn't bad, but down here it's not a lot of live places you're gonna get gigs, right? There's not a lot of places, especially now.
There's no live music at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. But like up in Brighton, because most pubs and there's loads of venues as well, you get paid fuck all, because it's just so many bands playing every single night and so many bands in that night. Because like if we put on a gig, it's at least 3 bands that like go on. God, it's not very, because the curfew's not very late, so you got to finish pretty early, and I mean it's a good time. And like in Brighton as well, like we've played gigs for just beers, like we just want to play, and it's the same with most bands, because BIM is such a big part of the music scene in Brighton. BIM's the university that I go to, so it's a big part of the music culture that's there, as well as like the older people as well. You get a lot of older people that are playing in like pubs that are amazing. They've been playing for years, but you know, it's good fun playing in Brighton. But I want to do a few gigs down here, because I just want to bring the whole band down. It'll be a good vibe down here, I reckon.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely that type of music down here, isn't it?
Well, I hope so. Anyway, well, we'll have to wait and see. But
yeah, you also have a couple of releases on Spotify.
Yeah, man, we've got like 3 tunes out on Spotify. I mean, they're doing pretty well. But it just sucks, man, because like,
what are they called?
Transition. Okay, well, our first single's called Thirst. It was released about 2 years ago.
It's about drinking, isn't it?
Actually, no, it's not about drinking.
What's it about?
It's it's a good question. It's about many things. We kind of wrote it when it's in first year, so we're doing a lot of naughty things. Yeah, drinking. And we just all like, you know, in Joel's room, he's the lead singer, and we was all in his room, just there chilling one night, and it just came to us really.
What's your position in the band?
I'm lead guitarist, so we got Joel, who's lead singer and rhythm guitarist, Ginge, bassist, Matt that's on the drums, and then we got a saxophonist called Fraser. He's really good, man. And he's kind of a latecomer to the band because
Fraser's my favourite.
Fraser, he's so intelligent, bro. Like, you have to meet him sometime. He's a fucking.
He's just got a bit of oddness about him that I can really relate to.
Yeah, like definitely. That's why he's literally one of my best mates. He's absolute legend. But
we had a really good time
at Boomtown. It was his first.
You also played at Boomtown.
Yeah, Boomtown was crazy. I did. Thanks to Mark, he sorted us out there. So he knows the captain.
Well, mostly because it was like a big affair. We all went. We all had a good time. I was already at Sidmouth, obviously, so I turned up a little bit worse for wear.
Can you explain what Sidmouth is to us three?
Sidmouth is something that I've been going to since the year I was born. It's a folk festival, but there's loads of like amateur bands, amateur rock bands, blues bands, folk,
and cider,
and a lot of cider. And we've been going every year, and it's like a tradition. So we all tend to go, don't we? The whole family.
Yeah, well, we try to. Like sometimes, obviously, none of us.
But yeah, so
of us don't make it.
Boomtown, you played Boomtown.
Yeah, Boomtown was crazy, man. I wasn't expecting like that many people to turn up to our actual thing, but like there's a lot of people that from down Cornwall that came that obviously I knew, and they came to the show, and then seemed to be like all my Cornwall lot, and then because we're all spread around the country, so like our lead singer's from Aberdeen, which is way up north, man, like Scotland, like as far northeast as you can go, really, in Scotland. And then Ginger's down like Dorset way, and then Matt's like around kind of like near Brighton, but not quite near Brighton. So we're all spread out, but it was good to have like everyone that knew us, each member from the band, come in and come see us, and that was like the whole first section of the crowd. And then once people like was walking past the stage, and they just saw people in there, and they were just crowding in, and like by like the third song in, we had a fucking full tent, man. It was crazy, and it was just so nuts to see that many people there. Most of them didn't even know who we were, but it was just crazy to have that many people vibing at the same time as us.
It's into music. And
and like we played on the Sunday, so when we got there on the Thursday, so we were feeling pretty worse for like wear, but it was still a good time. And
plus, there were some like nifty perks, like the staff areas and things.
Yeah, and cause obviously Mark sorted us the gig, and then we all got artist wristbands, so we could just like go anywhere literally anywhere in the festival. There's nowhere we couldn't go. The best part was you'd be out in the main bit.
Toilets were the
toilets
were the best part. You'd be like,
so at Boomtown, right? This is a funny fucking story.
Or Boomtown,
mainly Boomtown. They're not normal like cubicles for festivals. You go into this, it's just a shack, isn't it? Really,
love shack, baby.
Ooh, I wouldn't quite call it that. If you had sex in there that weekend, there's something wrong with you. Like,
cut that bit. Yeah, but
especially in the toilets though.
What I remember was the funniest is that we had all the passes, we all met up, had beers, we were like in the middle bit, and there was an empty stage. Actually no, there was that Scottish folk band that played, remember?
Yeah, they were amazing.
And then Fraser was like, I need a toilet. Yeah. And we were like,
just use your wristband, baby.
No, because we hadn't really tested it out.
Right.
We were like, right, Fraser, go for it. Like, see if you can do it. And they were like, oh yeah, just come through. And he was like, oh my god, they had tissue and hand sanitizer. And then we realised we don't have to slum it with these peasants. We can go and just like use the toilet, have real tissue, real hand sanitizer, and it was like a godsend for the whole weekend. But yeah, we got to go to the staff bars, which changed it because it was so expensive everywhere. Like it was like London prices, like £5 a pint.
It was absolutely crazy. For Red Stripe, it was like, I don't know, it was like a fiver just for a can of Red Stripe.
With the staff areas, it was like £3. And it was awesome. They had wicked music.
It was all on fucking.
And yeah,
it was good, man.
But it was good.
I don't know what that was, but
It's a violin
tap.
back brush.
I'm just washing my bag. It's fine. Don't worry about it. The good thing about Fraser though, like it was his first weekend of camping, and he's got OCD, and you should definitely check out his podcast because it's called Unraveling. Right? There's like 4 or 5 parts, and he just goes in deep about what it's like to live. It's on Spotify, man. It goes in deep with what it's like to live how he's living, and like anyone that's suffering from that same kind of mental illness or disorder, like OCD especially in now, it's going to affect you a lot more than it has done before. But he dives deep into it, man. He's really intelligent guy.
That's cool. It's nice for people to know that there's someone else out there.
Yeah, definitely, and that's why I'm so glad he's doing it, man.
Living through the same stuff, for sure.
No, it's good.
Touching on what things are like now, what's your point of view on all of this?
Oh, it's difficult, man, because we, as soon as lockdown happened, we were supposed to be in the studio.
Fasten your seatbelts, is what I'm saying.
No, we were supposed to be in the studio on April 1st. But everyone was like kind of skeptical of whether to do it or not, and then lockdown happened. We was like, well, it's not going to happen. It's just so annoying, and especially for us, they were so far apart. And I know you can use like video and stuff to do it. It's just not the same as being in the live room with the whole band and just vibing with it. And it's so difficult to.
Mate.
It's the same with
Tank Slapper on Saturday.
It's the same with it's anything though. Like it's never ever going to be the same as being there in person.
No,
mate. What's really upsetting is that I obviously had loads of gigs, concerts that I was going to go to in lockdown, and Guns N' Roses. Obviously, Daisy was going to go see Green Day, and there was. I think they called Funeral for a Friend. I might get this wrong. Could be in trouble. They sing about cancer. I know that much.
it's cheerful.
It is a really good album, though. Actually, I think it's called The Black Parade. It's really good.
My Chemical Romance.
That's it.
MCR.
I always call them. For some reason, I always get the name wrong.
I like My Chemical Romance.
Yeah. Let's redo that. Yeah, there's a band called My Chemical Romance, and they do an album called The Black Parade, and it's about cancer, but it's like a story. It's actually really good.
And this is
also Guns N' Roses. So you go see Guns N' Roses and Snoop Dogg with Warren G, and every effing concert got cancelled or rearranged, but it's affected the music industry so hard that some of my really close friends, who I sort of envied massively, have not coped at all because of the way that finances work sometimes and the way you get paid. You sort of put all your eggs in one basket, and then you're expecting the busy season to come, and it doesn't, and then you're like, oh fuck.
Yeah, especially with people that work festivals as well.
What am I going to do? Yeah, mate, people who only do seasonal jobs.
Yeah, especially food vans or whatever in festivals. They rely on that big payout this time of the year.
All of them, food vans, musicians, roadies,
all of that,
door staff.
It's the whole festival thing, and especially with Bullmasters as well.
Bar staff and hospitality suffer massively as well. Not just those guys, but the music industry apparently makes about 3 to 4 billion a year.
Yeah.
That's in revenue for the government. No, it doesn't include obviously what they make. I think it probably a lot more. Yeah. But the money they bring into our government is like off the scale, and for them to allow it to just slide away, without doing anything to save it, is a bit.
Can I just say, I know.
It just makes me wonder how how and why? How can they find it so easy? Because they must have a backup plan. You know what I mean? I don't understand how they can afford just to lose 4 billion.
I don't think anyone can, especially in this economy.
Well, no, but it's like it's not to get too political, because but when the election was coming up, one of the Conservatives' biggest arguments was Jeremy Corbyn doesn't have a magic money tree, but yet it seems to be in full bloom at the moment for them.
Yeah, especially because today they announced that Boris Johnson's doing this 50. People can get 50.
Do another charity
unicycle. Yeah, basically it's kind of similar, right? So I actually set an alarm on my phone for it, because basically it's giving a £50 voucher away to get your bike like upgraded, and you can take it into like Halfords or whatever, and they can like replace your wheels, replace your fucking brakes and shit for a £50 voucher, and he's giving that away to his first come first serve. I think it was like
why?
It was like billions of pounds, and
I know, but why? Surely there's more pressing matters.
That's what I thought, right? Surely there's more than fixing someone's bike to be solved right now.
I mean, that's the first I've heard of it, and genuinely,
I saw
that's making me
news,
think. What?
I'm not gonna lie, I was just like, I've got a bike, it's pretty shit, so I'm like, I don't know. I'm gonna apply.
You get a BMX for 50 quid these days.
Well, I'm not gonna ride that down the fucking camel trail. I don't know.
If going by what Jaz is saying, it's to upgrade. It's not.
Yeah, because they're pushing this whole obesity thing, aren't they?
Let's talk specifics.
Like,
what if I buy a single wheel and I want to upgrade that to a BMX?
Ooh, if the rest is worth £50, then you get yourself a fucking deal, I reckon, mate.
I need to buy myself a wheel.
All you need is a frame, another wheel, some handlebars, and
maybe
some pedals,
some brakes,
and maybe a sprocket. Done.
I want to build it in the image of the Rally Afterburner with TTK stunt pedals.
Rad.
But that's the bike I had as a kid. My parents said, right, it's Christmas Day. Right, you've got to do the washing. I was like, shit, come on, shit, Dad, shit, Mum.
Mother, Tommy, your little lady said, come on, Mom, shit, I'm moving as fast as I can, shit, come on. And I was standing there like this.
The Eddie Murphy, Eddie Murphy thing, and I was like, and I took the washing, went to take it outside, and there was this new bike at the back, right in front of the washing machine. I was like, oh yeah, and I thought it was the coolest kid in Travanson. I was riding it out at like, I don't know, it must have been about 11, because I did my cycling proficiency on it, and I was riding it around Travanson in my bare feet with Muttley in tow, so pretty big deal even back then.
Yeah, fucking bee's knees, mate.
But yeah, I missed that about the upgrade, and I wish I'd bought I've been banging on about buying a bike recently, because I'm trying to be a little more active. In London, it's easy because
it's all flat, especially in London.
You can get a Boris bike and have that.
It's like fucking quid, like for like 2 hours.
I did when I was in London. I did like 15 miles, and the next day I was like, whatever. And but the day after I was like,
Dom,
beep beep boop, beep.
Dom's hit you.
Yeah, it just totally. I was just locked up, but I'd like a bike, but.
I've been cycling to Padstow, like normally like once or twice a week.
Yeah, you did say.
Yeah, but just for not any good reasons.
Crabbing.
Yeah, just there's a spot of crabbing.
Do you love a bit of crabbing?
Oh.
Segue.
So, if you had to lump it in one song, what does, before we slide off into the coronavirus
I thought
aliens. We can go aliens.
Let's go aliens. Let's fuck the coronavirus off for a while.
That's okay honest, with me. However,
I'd love to, but I'll just get too animated, too into it, and we're going to lose fans.
That's good though.
We're going to lose fans.
No. So, again, before we steer off, what in a nutshell, does music mean and do for you?
Well, music it saved my life as a kid. When I was 8 years old, tell a quick story, I've got a few. I had really bad appendicitis, I ruptured appendicitis, and it was like a bursting point. I got rushed to hospital, and I was in hospital for weeks, and I couldn't go into the day room where all the other kids were, the little shits. And I was like, what can I do? And they brought me this old Casio keyboard to the hospital bed where I was, all, dripped up and everything. And I just started tinkering around on the old ivories. And I was ivories, not ovaries.
Right.
This is ivories, ovaries.
Got it. Yeah, nice one. Cheers for
Just in case you guys didn't know.
Actually, ovaries are more like. But yeah, and within a couple of years, I'd still been like messing around on the keyboard and stuff. And my mum, we had this next door neighbour called Cy Rickard, if you know him, very very famous in these parts. And he, I used to play all these practical jokes on my mum, but I won't go into that now. But he had this fucking 2-tiered organ, and he gave it to me as a present. Well, my mum paid some money for it, but it was like he sort of give half towards, like give her like half price. And then I just kept at that until I got to about 14. But yeah, I won't go into. There's a whole story that I could go into. But yeah, it basically saved my life. It's the one thing that I was really good at without having to ever try that hard. And I'm not lazy. It's just one thing that I had a real affinity for.
Yeah.
I just understood it. It made me feel like nothing else does, and it's the whole reason I write music now, because I understand how it works. And it's weird, you speak to some people about music and they just don't get it, and it blows my mind. You're like, oh god, feel that, you get goosebumps, and they're like, what?
Oh yeah, no, I know.
What do you mean what?
I know
what do you mean what? And they don't, and you just think, God,
I don't understand.
Bloody
how you
sad.
can't get it.
Yeah, man. Totally get that.
So for me, it's everything. It's all I've ever wanted to do, and after working in jobs that I fucking hated for most of my life, I just took a punt and went to London to do music. And after being there for so long now, I've realised it doesn't really matter where you are. You can do music anywhere. You just got to be.
It depends what you
just got to be not shit.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Lots of people think they can be a musician, but some people have just got it and some people haven't, I think.
It depends what you're gonna do. It depends who you wanna meet along the way. Like, guaranteed, your career would have not gone the way it's gone if you didn't move up to London.
Yeah,
you wouldn't have met the people that you met. You wouldn't have the jobs that you've had.
I mean, I won't go into stories with like, all the stuff that happened in London, but some of the people I got to meet were just like off the scale.
Exactly,
like Charlie Tuna.
Mental.
Charlie Tuna is in a rap group called Jurassic 5, and they are like literally hip hop royalty. And I went to what the jobs were, some of the random jobs I did for finger licking for him, but it was like getting to the Greek type stuff. And Charlie's like a 6 foot fucking 6'7" big black guy from Los Angeles. Like, hey man, I can't even do an impression of him, it's too low. Even with my sexy cowboy voice. But he randomly called me one day, and he was like, this is just one example, and he was like, hey Mark, where you work, man? I was like, I'm at home. He's like, I need something. Want to hang? I was like, yeah, I can hook you up. Basically, he wanted some weed. That was one of the things. And he came over to my house and met my housemate and met my next door neighbour's kid who was like 17. He was talking about his family life and Marvel comics and just being good to each other. And he's an artist and a rapper, and he is in a hip hop group that I used to listen to as a kid. I was like 17 years old, 18 or whatever, and they don't sing about. They're not rapping about blunts, 40s, and bitches. They're rapping about real life and poverty and being good to your fellow man and everything. And I like that because they weren't putting anything on. It was no gangster bullshit. It was just real good. And then I was working at Finger Licking, and I got to meet him repeated times. And obviously he ended up at my house because we got on a real good terms and like friendly. And he was just like cool. And yeah, that's just one example of what it was like in London. But yeah, music like changed my life completely. I wouldn't be the person I am now if it wasn't for music. And if anything, I always wonder what would have happened if they'd realised I had appendicitis sooner. Do you know what I mean? Instead of because I tell you how it happened is that I had appendicitis so bad that I was on my parents' sofa and I was like, and I couldn't sit up, and my dad was like, "Yeah, you're talking bollocks. Get to school." And my mum was like, "No, I really think he's ill this time." And I was like, "No,
Definitely
really
cried
am."
wolf too many times.
I couldn't lift. It was not like a boy who cried wolf thing, but my dad was like,
You definitely did it too many times
when
before,
I was
like we
younger.
all did.
No, I mean, my dad didn't mess around. He was like, "You better be dying or you're going to school." I am dying, literally. Yeah, so I ended up in hospital, and that's how it all panned out.
Hitting on something you said about they rap about actual life and not blunts, 40s and bitches. And I see that as a massive problem where music is going nowadays. Like if you listen, if you listen to any of the charts, none of it tells a story really. It's all words that rhyme and sound good next to each other.
Well, it's because it's the easiest thing for people to digest.
But
that's why limericks and poetry that people remember and fucking slogans and things like that. So they're done in that way because people, not everyone. People are simple. They want simple things, and they're just like, Lorna Windows, all that stuff. All the little slogans. Movepig.com. Yeah, exactly.
All that shit, man.
It's just easier for people to remember
because what music means for me, and I have a massive spectrum. I go from heavy metal to rock to classic rock to folk.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
I love it all, and that's definitely where and who I grew up around. You, Mum, my Uncle Ed, and you guys got that from
my dad and my brother.
Yeah, it goes back then. Definitely.
But you listen when you don't just hear music. You listen. You listen to music, and I get that chill, that shiver up my spine.
Yeah, it's weird that
adrenaline rush.
That some people don't experience that, and it's really sad because
it's something special.
Movies do that to me as well, but I mean, music does it in such a different way that to think that somebody doesn't get to experience how it feels to hear a piece of music and weep without it sounding, too like.
Okay.
I've only cried at one film ever.
But for someone to not ever experience that feeling from music is like. It beggars belief. It just makes me think, that's sad. It's just really sad.
It sucks, yeah.
But that's just the way it is. Some people they're just not like everyone else, and the world wouldn't work unless
they were the opposite.
All different.
True.
You were saying something.
It's irrelevant now.
A quick one on the movies. I had this one time. It's the funniest memory that I have involved in a movie, and I've been working till 4 a.m, and
Were you working 9 to 5? What a way to make a living.
It would be.
Let's slip that in there.
Just tumble out of bed.
And I was walking up my stairs, and all I could hear was laughing, what I believe to be laughing. And I go upstairs, and I am nearly crying with laughter because my two best friends have duct taped themselves to each other on my sofa. They're not laughing, they're crying. I look and Titanic is on the TV. And they have...
But they're duct taped to the sofa and they're watching Titanic.
No, they're duct taped to each other. And they have a Henry Weston's duct taped between each other.
Right.
They got one hand in. And
Good cider.
they're feeding each other the cider. I've got duct tape hanging from my ceiling where they've tried to duct tape each other to the ceiling. And I literally walk in, the Titanic's near the end, and it's because I'd never watched it previous.
What?
And it was the part where Jack is on the float and Rose lets him go.
On the fucking
I've never
door.
seen-
I'll never let go. I promise.
It. And she's just like,
That's
oh,
the only
fuck
reason,
yeah.
because
Nah, don't worry
seen
about
that. I've seen that scene before, and I said, "Oh, I've never watched this," and they went,
times.
"Oh, it's our second time in a row. Do you want to watch it again?" And they reset the film, and we all sat there watching Titanic while they're still duct taped together
They watched it 3 times.
in a row. Yeah, that's how drunk they were.
Wow. I mean, I think I've only watched it 3 times in my lifetime. Like, 3 times in a night is stretching
You ever
it.
seen The Notebook?
You know what? I've never seen The Notebook. Is that bad?
You missed.
Well,
that.
no, because I'm
Hey,
into a
I don't mean to-
romantic film,
I don't
like
mean
a
to
sad
put the cat
film.
amongst the pigeons in.
Oh,
but
so-
The Notebook makes Titanic look like a pile of shit.
Is it the one with Ryan Gosling?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so I've got a weird thing about Ryan Gosling, right? He's a really
I
attractive
write you
man.
every day for 365 days.
If that's a quote from The Notebook, not gonna know it.
It is. I'm gonna. Get a bit.
Right,
Oh, get me
stop
one.
talking next week.
Yeah, cool. I need a piss.